So our next speaker hails from San Diego, and he is former military, and he's done quite a bit of work in sustainability, and he'll tell you all about that. But his presentation title is Production and Distribution in a Zero Waste Economy, and his name is Mike Haynes. Let's give him a welcome.
It's been pretty awesome so far with all these presentations, because everything's coming together, particularly for the one I'm about to give, so I'm excited about that. Some of the things that Shar mentioned I've done in sustainability, I really wanted to bring my hydroponic system here. It's a vertical, kind of a vertical tower. It's about this tall, but I came from San Diego. It was kind of it's hard putting that thing in the car, but this is an awesome organization. I'm glad to be a part of it. So without further delay, because we're running out of time, I'm going to get started here. Okay, Zeitgeist News. The headlines read, Zero Waste Economy. Scientific method approach to production and distribution of resources allows optimal efficiency and sustainability. As you peer further into the article, you see where it says, first application of scientific algorithm equation toward production of goods and resources. Okay, so you're looking at this equation, and it may seem a little insignificant right now, but what the people of today don't understand is that in time to come, there's going to be hundreds, even thousands of algorithms manifesting themselves left and right. Now, the unique thing about this is that these algorithms allows us for the first time to apply the language of science and mathematics into our not only designing for technical efficiency, but the overall collaboration of that and maintaining particular standards. For example, this algorithm, you see there, production functionality in the beginning, and it's made up of design efficiency, production efficiency, distribution efficiency, and resource or recycling efficiency, excuse me. And all of this together equals the maximum sustainable standards of that. So it's really exciting to me because this allows us to incorporate the language of science in not only our production and efficiency, but also collective social orientation and organization as well, bringing that together. So as an example, you see the model city in the back. There will be algorithms that will be created for city design efficiency for optimal human concern, along with maintaining a particular carrying capacity as well. You incorporate this into travel, and you have travel being designed with the ultimate in sustainability and efficiency standards as well, to where the mere possibility of having an accident will be designed out of the equation itself. So this opens the doors to some very exciting possibilities in the future. So I'm not going to get too much in detail right now, because first it's important to connect the dots before we get into this equation. So scientific principles show that production efficiency really starts at the human global orientation level, which of course algorithms would be currently being worked out on that right now. Let's take a big step back. Instead of a localized view in the city system, first of all we need to start and take a big view of the planet, of spaceship Earth. There comes a couple of very major questions that we need to ask ourselves in order to get the path flowing of sustainability practices on the local level. And one, the question is, what do we have and what do we need to produce? Well, humanity, we already understand that our goal as a species is in fact not only survival, but to prosper and flourish as well. And in order to do that, we need to have access to resources. So we have an entire planet full of resources, and we need to produce for a exponentially increasing population of 7+ billion people. Okay, now with that being said, it's also understood that we also need to have a value system that allows us to co-collaborate and understand our place within the natural world so that we can bring down that population expansion. So naturally, education, or relevant education, would be the highest priorities in all social units of humanity, which would be the city system itself. So, you know, we operate on better value systems. Instead of having maybe, 14 or 28 children, we understand, hey, it's more in congruent balance with the carrying capacity of the world to have 1 or 2 kids. Okay, what we have, an entire planet full of resources. We scan the planet, find out what resources that we have where, and then strategically orient. So with strategically orienting ourselves on this planet with the resources, say if we have precious metals in a particular area of the planet, we incorporate our extraction facilities to harvest that resource at a sustainable manner. And then also with energy production, what energy potentialities do we have on the planet? We have wind, wave, tidal, solar, geothermal, osmotic, OTEC, ocean thermal energy conversion systems. We strategically orient to that within a close proximity of our city systems as well to shorten the distance of distribution of that energy for optimal efficiency, right? So that connects us to the city system itself. Okay, so the social unit of humanity, a couple things very important about this, because it's understood that more than 50% of the human population does in fact live in city systems. And this number is expected to drastically increase in the near future. Also, localization is extremely important. It's understood that, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? So the shorter that line is, the shorter the distance, the less energy that has to go in production and distribution of resources. And also, the third point, you want to be decentralized. So these city systems are localized, decentralized. We're not dependent on some far outside source. There's no need to ship in blueberries from Chile anymore. We can grow that right here in the city system itself. So these cities are designed within those algorithmic equations to produce for everything that human needs, and especially for healthy mental development as well. So you can see how the city is broken up into sections, right? Meeting the maximum use of resources, you design one section, copy it 8 times. You notice where the city at the very outside perimeter has a recreational belt surrounding the entire city. A lot of our cities today, unfortunately our kids, they don't have anywhere to play, they have nowhere to go, and it's quite sad. We have an agricultural belt surrounding the entire city. Moving in more, you have the energy belt, a housing district, and all the color areas, that represents the industrial areas where much of our production is taking place. And then you got the correlation hub in the center, whereas the central aspect for transportation, which is depicted by the white radial lines. This goes both radially and linear as well, taking you anywhere in the city. So the city sections, you have different focuses where food, water, shelter, energy is being taken care of, medical, technology advancements, waste management, recycling, transportation, recreation, and the highest priority, education. So all of these are designed within the city parameters within a particular carrying capacity. So for example, the city system there has a carrying capacity of 100,000 people. Each section is able to provide for 12,500 people. You multiply that by 8 times, you get 100,000 people. And once you reach that, build another city, everything in between cities goes back to nature. Okay, so as far as production and distribution, we have the designs narrowed down. We've got it worked out to where we can provide for humanity. And the production that is not only isn't just limited to like clothing, utility-based items for your home or whatnot, or groceries. We're talking your homes too. Even your homes would be designed in the utmost sustainable manner, made out of materials that's not necessarily designed to break down anymore as soon as you're finished paying for it. Like these houses here, they would be made out of earth-friendly polymers that are designed to last for, say, 100 years. And with known methods today, such as extrusions, contour crafting, we're able to update these homes continuously and change the layout and the shape of these homes depending on your like. Okay, raw resources coming into the city system. They will be coming in mainly as a raw resource. That which we cannot produce within the city would be coming from localized areas in a close proximity as much as possible. So much of the production would be done in those in those industrial sectors. There's two main production facilities within the city parameters. There's fixed production and flexible production. The fixed production will be mainly for materials, goods that everyone uses on a mass scale. Say most of your utility needs, blenders, forks, spoons, we'll say chairs that are intelligently designed to meet the highest standard possible. These things would be manufactured on a fixed basis. The flexible production would be more standardized items. Say you wanted to design a chair that had, it was a little bit unique, or you came up with a food product. That would be submitted to the collaborative design interface and produced within the flexible production parameters. Okay, so as far as distribution goes, these products are made in the industrial sectors, which in the city is those colored areas. If you wanted to order, say, your groceries, for example, they would be able to be shipped via pneumatic tube transport directly to your home in a matter of minutes. And here's an example of that. And all the materials that is not being used, which keep in mind everything is designed and produced with optimal recycling capabilities from the beginning stage. So that which you do not use goes back in the pneumatic tube and sent to the waste management and recycling centers and would recycle that and reuse it. So global transportation, let's step back again. We have, within the city parameters, we have our transportation units figured out there, but going from a more intercontinental stage, we would be using what's called evacuated tube transport, and the only difference within the pneumatic tube is that the pneumatic tube uses pressurized air. The evacuated tube transport, all the air is sucked out of the tube, and then it's suspended by magnetic levitation. So it's a motionless, frictionless tube. It's really space travel on Earth. So this is really the future of intercontinental travel and freight transport as well. Okay, so getting into the calculation for production efficiency. So production functionality there. It's broken down into the design efficiency, production efficiency, distribution efficiency, and recycling efficiency. Now, each one of these components is further broken down into other algorithms. So take, for example, the design efficiency there. Design efficiency would equal design functionality composed of the TD, which represents durability. The A design represents adaptability, conducive recycling, and then standardization of components. And then the last one, the human labor aspect, really represents the automotive conduciveness. So with the automotive conduciveness, you want to have everything automated so that people have mass access to that. And that's the trend anyway, as Don pointed out. So let's use this to our advantage. Okay, so standardization of equipment. Remember, to go along with Don's cell phone, here's the chargers that we use with those cell phones. Particularly in the early 2000s, I can't tell you how many times I might have ripped one of these and I couldn't plug in my phone to, using my buddy's charger cord. So it would make more sense to be able to standardize this with one component that fits hundreds of cell phones instead of hundreds of these to fit hundreds of cell phones. So that represents standardization. Now, conducive recycling. Okay, remember these, we have these little juice box containers here, these little high-C containers. These things are laced with plastic, metal, and cardboard. You can't recycle this. So there's not very much recycling conduciveness in this. So that design would be thrown out, and we would go back to the planning stages and redesign something that has a more conducive recyclability there. Okay, so the design adaptability represents the topmost and efficiency as well. And then durability, which, say this computer, would be made out of material more like a titanium that's not designed to break down in 3 to 6 months after purchase. So with all of these combined together, we have a standardization to go by that represents the highest optimized design efficiency possible, which when connected to the global resource management network allows us to maintain that in a global level which limits the resource exploitation. And that brings us to the scarcity assessment scale on a global level. When we're harvesting resources, we have a scale from 1 to 100. And the 50% margin represents an area where we start to use way too much of these resources, and it goes below its renewability. So we can apply that with oil or whatever precious resource there is, but once it gets around that 50 percentile range, that's when we start really focusing on creating renewable alternatives scientifically. Okay, so our capabilities. We have a scientific tracking that allows us to track and manage the flow of what's going on with the production and distribution of these resources and the recycling. We have information feedback, allowing us to maintain a balanced load economy. And then optimal recycling through design, so that's less resources we have to extract because we're using them more intelligently. And so with all of this put together in an intelligent manner, which these algorithms will help us do, represents the highest efficiency standards possible. So some of the old newspaper articles that we have during our times, back in the capitalism days. Here's one, capitalism's inefficient shirt production. Cotton grown in the U.S., but manufactured in China, and then sold to U.S. customers. So that's something that our grandchildren will look back on us and they'll laugh. You know, it's like, oh man, what were we doing back then? Here's another one. Capitalism's inefficient food production methods. Much of U.S. produce comes from outside our borders. That is so tremendously wasteful. So now with the importance of a new economy that upholds the paradigm of the technical age, because that is really what's needed to make this transition happen. The monetary structure in itself is really opposite of what our capabilities are. Our capabilities, which are based on our technical achievements, is in fact to create an abundance, cooperation, and to provide for all of the world's people at an extremely high standard of living, which is the direct opposite of scarcity and competition. So we need an economy to manage all the technology that we have. That's the importance of this transition, and we understand that now. And all we need to do is help others understand it. So with a transcendence to a new level of understanding, then just maybe, sooner than later, we can make a zero-waste economy a reality. Thank you very much.